Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and today I'm super excited about this. With it coming up to Christmas, my local Lidl store has started to stock art supplies. Rather than do a haul and just unbox them, I'll do one supply at a time, I think. But I'm going to be starting off with the favourite of the bunch that I picked up. Now, it's not Lidl's own brand, but they do sell a lot of the Marabou Craybox items. And you might have seen me use something similar before when I opened up a smart box back in July, I believe. And that is the watercolour inks. The branding on the one I got from Smart Art was the graphics, and this is Craybox, but if I be really honest with you, apart from the label on it, I don't really see any difference. Now, there's several box sets of these to pick from. They'd got a spring theme, which I didn't really fancy. I went for the winter one, and that is because I've got quite summery colours again from the smart box I received earlier this year. In the kit, you get 5 colours, which are lemon yellow, a magenta, a cyan, an ultramarine blue, and a black. Also included was a water brush, which, and let's face it, I don't really use them very often, and 10 sheets of watercolour paper to work with, which, to be honest, you're pretty much good to go with that, and it cost me $4.99. Now, these behave quite differently to your tube or pan watercolours because they're dye based. And what that means is you just have to be quite careful when you're using them, or at least be aware that once you've put a colour down, there's a high chance it will come back to life again when water's added back to it. They're tricky to layer, they can be a little temperamental, but again, if you're aware of this, you can create some really nice effects with it. So let's talk about the drawing. I decided to take some inspiration with the leaflet and the box art that came with this. I quite liked that wintry girl on there, and I thought I'll do my own version of this. I quickly sketched it out using a mechanical pencil, as you've just seen, and I'm just going over everywhere with a Rotring Tiki liner pen, and that's because it's going to be permanent and hopefully the dyes shouldn't affect it. I also masked off the areas I wanted to remain white for now, and I just used a masking fluid pen with that. And that's because once that colour's down, yeah, you can lift it, but it's going to stain the paper underneath, so you can only lift off so much. Now, the thing that really made me happy was when using a wet and wet technique, just how much that colour moved across the paper. I was wowed by how vibrant they are, and to be honest, I had a good feeling about this set anyway. When I noticed it on the Lidl flyer, I was like, I need to have these, I need to increase my collection. I did pick up 2 other items as well. I picked up a Marabou Craybox marbling kit, which I'm going to do a video on, and I also picked up Lidl's own brand Craylando watercolour pencils, which I'm currently working on a video now, so that should be up pretty soon. But this is the one I wanted to share with you first. Like I say, this is my favourite out of the 3, and I guess that's mainly on first impressions. So another reason why I picked this particular set in the winter colour scheme is you've got your 3 primary colours there, which means there's an endless possibility of colour mixing, right? In the absence of a designated skin tone, it was pretty simple, just mixing one up myself and layering it on the page. I was able to create a warm red by adding that lemon yellow to the magenta, which, okay, it's not the most realistic of looking pictures, but there were some natural skin tones coming through there. When it did dry just a little bit paler than how it went down, but again, I expect that. It's a dye-based medium, so sometimes you do have to expect that the colours might just be a little less saturated when dry. However, I'm not disappointed at all. I'm really chuffed I've managed to get these, and for $4.99 they're an absolute bargain. I also managed to mix up this gorgeous green colour for her eyes, and yeah, pretty pleased with that as well. Have any of you guys tried these liquid watercolours or these watercolour inks? They're called many a different thing. I do believe Ecoline have a range, and I'm curious, but when these are £4.99 and perhaps the Ecoline are a little bit more, I don't think these are a bad alternative. Now, there's not much information with regards to what this paper is. It's thicker than cartridge paper, and it does have a watercolour paper-like texture to it. However, at a guess, I'd say it's perhaps 240 GSM. It didn't seem quite thick enough to make the 300 GSM mark. And for the pricing of it, I'd say it's going to be a wood pulp based paper. I don't think they're going to be putting cotton paper in this. However, I'm not sure if cotton would be right for it really. I mean, this does spread quite easily over paper, so maybe doing wet and wet on cotton where it stays wetter for longer, maybe you're going to lose a little bit too much control. I might have to research that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. And keeping with the colour scheme on our figure's hair, I thought I'd bring some of those gorgeous blues and pink tones into it. Again, because it's dye based, and for some reason it didn't seem to dry on the brush as quickly, so that meant my brush strokes could go on for a little bit longer than using perhaps a regular watercolour. That's just an observation I've made. Now, I did steer away from using that black ink because when I swatched it out, it just seemed a little bit too rich for the type of painting I wanted. And if I be really honest, this kit probably would have benefited from not having that in there. That's again just my personal opinion, but when you've got these gorgeous vibrant colours, that black just seems a little bit too harsh. Now, again, I'm only talking from a UK point of view with it being £4.99, but I am quite aware Lidl is definitely in Europe. So, would I recommend this? Yeah, absolutely. For £4.99, or however that translates across into the country you are, I think that's quite a good steal. I think it'd make a great gift for a beginner artist, or if you just want to satisfy that watercolour ink curiosity, definitely give it a try. When I went over it again with the liner pen, I was really surprised and a little relieved to not see it reactivate and bleed the colours out, and maybe that's the paper as well as the watercolours, but I was quite happy that when it came to adding those details in afterwards, there were no disasters, which is always a good thing, especially towards the end of a painting, right? I'm quite curious to see how the marbling kit fares up, and I think that's going to be messy, so I'll do the watercolour pencil video first, and then that marbling kit will be up next. Anyway, I hope you have found this video entertaining and useful and inspiring. There should be another video on the screen you should click on right now. If you haven't subscribed, you should click on that one first, and I will see you lovely lot on the next video. Bye!